This is the briefing for Wednesday, June 24th. Well, we had a bit of a down day in today's trading. Market internals appear to be strengthening slightly. You can see this is the spiders on a 60-minute basis, and you can see that the trend here in breadth in the S&P 500 is up. Now, a little bit different in the NASDAQ. It's basically been pretty low, but we got a little bit of a spike here, but then over the last day or two, you can see what's happened with breadth. It's kind of sold off a little bit. Negative breadth in terms of the NASDAQ in today's trading. And in the Russell, you can see breadth was declining as well. But, positive side of this is we had some pretty decent volume in today's trading. You can see net volume ticked up slightly, net volume ticking up slightly, net volume basically flat in the Russell. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, I've marked these key reference areas that I've tracked, and you can see this 740 area was right at the low of this candle here, where we had a buying tail came in, and then we got this this rotation all the way back down to the low from yesterday, and then paused in rotation. Same thing with the NASDAQ, just pausing just below the low of yesterday, and the intermarket divergence is still there, which is very, very surprising. You can see this is the trend on an hourly basis in the spiders. This is the trend in the Qs. This is the trend in the Russell, the IWM, which is very surprising, at least at this point in time. Now, there's certainly a news event out today, or after the close today, that will certainly potentially affect the indices in tomorrow's trading, and that happens to be the Micron earnings. Now, these are hourly charts of the spiders, the Qs, and the IWM representing the Russell. Now, these are the difference between these and the other charts I just showed was the fact that this is a 24-hour session. The other charts were just the regular session from 9:30 until 4 p.m. Eastern time. So you can see we've got a little bit of a spike here in the indices after the close. This is in the aftermarket session. So you can see there's some positive news coming in. Let's just check Micron and see what's going on with Micron. Obviously, it was not a buy the rumor and sell the news event, at least not as of right now, but potentially this could change overnight. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. This is Micron right now. So you can see what's happened here, coming from all the way down with a low in the 1028.29 area up to 1144. So it's a pretty big move in terms of Micron. So now this is the aftermarket. Volume is typically lower in the aftermarket, and it's going to be interesting to see if it can hold these gains overnight and into the opening tomorrow. So what happens tomorrow and the effect on the markets, especially the NASDAQ, I'm going to go back to the Qs here. You can see that it is going to be very interesting to see what happens in tomorrow's trading. But with that said, let's go to the spiders on a daily basis. So you can see volume falling off on this move to the downside here. So that's an indication that there's weakness in sellers. Sellers are weakening. We got a little bit of a tick up in 52-week highs minus 52-week lows. And there is a strengthening in market breadth. And you can see that if I had a trend line, if I drew a trend line there, you could see the move higher. You can see it was even higher in today's trading, even though we made a lower low below yesterday's low. Net volume was basically flat on a daily basis. In terms of the Qs, you can see basically the same thing. Volume was low in the Qs, but you can see we got a little bit of strengthening in the NASDAQ market breadth. Net volume was down. Of course, that probably has a lot to do with volume being down as well. And then in the Russell, you can see the Russell still testing. It was testing the all-time highs from Monday. And you can see volume basically flat, but you can see that what's happening with breadth in the Russell 2000, that breadth is strengthening. But net volume down. In fact, net volume was negative. which does not surprise me because of this selling tail that came in at the end of the day today. So looking at where we are in terms of overbought and oversold, we're neutral. And we've been hanging around neutral for quite some time, as you can see right here in the NYSE and right here in the NASDAQ. And then probably finally, the most important aspect that we have is what's happening with volume. Once again, I pointed this out in the last two briefings that this was Thursday's volume, but it was a monthly option expiration date for the NYSE. So typically we do get volume spikes on option expiration days, and you can see volume down. Now this was interesting, and last night I talked about it also, about this move up in NASDAQ volume. This is total NASDAQ volume, and you can see how it just absolutely collapsed in today's trading. Net volume down also, and then you can see what's happening here with net volume in the NYSE. It was down as well. So basically, we're seeing a little bit of strengthening in terms of the market internals, supporting potential for some type of rotation back up, or even putting in a potential bottom that would then suggest that we're going to see some type of rotation all the way back through this range. Now, that's a little bit far-fetched right now based on the information that we have, but it is going to be interesting to see what the impact is on Micron Technology's move in terms of its earnings release. So you can see even in the aftermarket now, it seems to be doing a little bit better. So I'll check this in the morning because obviously I have these charts, and I'm going to want to see what's going on with the indices themselves in the pre-market, and what's happening with Micron Technology. It could have a big impact on the NASDAQ, which would have a big impact on the NYSE, and then potentially on the S&P 500. Going to be very interesting to see if it has any impact at all on the Russell. Have a great night, and I will pick this back up again tomorrow.